Hello folks, I'm Rachel from one-acre-garden in Ireland and you're very welcome to the June garden tour. Now what a year it has been, and every gardener out there is just lamenting the dreadful weather we've had. It was so wet and so cold right through most of May, and now in June, heat wave. And I do understand that our heat wave doesn't compare to people who live in much warmer climates, but in this part of Europe it has been more than we can cope with. I understand that in England and in France they have really got it bad, whereas in Ireland we've got a balmy 28 degrees. But 28 degrees for us is exceptional. It's very hard to manage. It's very hard to help our gardens survive, because you've got to consider that I grow plants that would be used to my kind of temperate climate and my, well, consistent rain. So it's a bit of a struggle. But the sunshine is lovely. I won't complain about the sunshine. It is lovely, although a bit relentless, and it shows off the flowers to perfection at the moment. So come with me as we walk around my June garden, which is brimming with flowers at the moment, and check out how lovely it's looking. So a great place to start is over here in my long border, where the colours are hot enough to match the weather we've been having up until very recently. And you will see that the chief flower here in this border at the moment is the Alstroemeria oreana, which just shines with its fantastic deep orange colour that really steals the show. And I planted some annuals in here, Tagetes mostly, which are orange too, but I had to be careful not to put them right up against Alstroemeria oreana lest they be consumed, because the colours are very similar. So what I've done is I've put Amaranthus, or Love Lies Bleeding, between the two plants to just provide a bit of a contrast. The geranium at the front is Anne Thompson, purportedly the best geranium out there, but I have to say that my heart belongs to Dragon Heart, which is the one right down here, and is very similar to Anne Thompson in style. The difference is that the flowers are bigger and the foliage is more green rather than yellowish. I have found that it tends to flower just as long as Anne Thompson does. Just over here we have Alstroemeria Summer Skies, and I notice mine is beginning to, well, look a little bit bold in the middle, so it is time to divide it. So I'll be doing that next April. The big lilies behind it aren't in flower yet, but I do have some regal lilies that just opened yesterday. Just behind the regal lilies we have a Japanese acer, which is making a big dome shape, and we'll have another look at that round the other side of this lip on the long border in just a moment. Whereas in front of it we have the astrantias, which are now looking quite lovely. And everywhere in the garden we have poppies popping up this year. We have a single red one here and odd individuals here, there and everywhere, but we'll come to the main places where there are poppies in just a few moments. This, of course, is my new red border, which is just getting going. But what I really want to show you is this spot over here where the Japanese acer predominates. Here we have a tiny little grey sedum which is doing battle with the Japanese acer, and it just seems to not mind about hiding underneath the canopy of the acer leaves. It's going right underneath the tree leaves, and it doesn't seem to mind not getting any light at all. It makes a lovely carpet here, and so much so that I do need to weed it out at times. Just pull it out where it goes too near my roscoas, for example, or against other plants. The red border, of course, was planted up just this spring, and it's done so well. In fact, there are plenty of weeds in there, in among the plants, but it's so densely planted that you can barely see them, and they're kind of getting pushed out, which is exactly what you want, really. You can see bobbing above the heads of other plants a few of the delphiniums that I sowed a little while ago. There was a video I made about that, which I'll link to at the end, and they're coming into flower. I planted the dark blue ones in here in this border, and actually, look in there. There's a fantastic flower that's opened. The delphiniums, of course, are going to be short for a while. It'll take a few years for them to bulk up and kind of beef up a bit. And of course, there are plenty of poppies in here. The seed was in my compost, so it's ended up everywhere, but especially here in the new lasagna bed. So now we'll go on over here past the hydrangeas, which are just coming into bloom, because I want to show you this little spot over here. I guess the dominant colour here is orange, although it was yellow a little while ago when the lupins were in bloom and some other lilies that have gone over now. But one thing I do notice is that the iris ensata is in flower, and this hasn't flowered for the longest time, and the reason for that is I have very dry soil, and you may think it's sunny and warm now with our 28 degrees, but you have to remember we have had just the wettest spring. So the result of all that rain is that plants that really love water, such as the Japanese iris ensata, are flowering this year, whereas normally they just can't. This weather is absolutely crazy. It feels now like it's going to rain, and certainly we have this wind which we've never had up until now with the, well, the fantastic sunshine. So we'll just have to soldier on with the video. And over here on the arch we have a clematis, which I think is the first real flowering that it's done in my garden. And this one is Princess Diana, if I'm not mistaken. Beautiful, beautiful deep pink, which is just fantastic. And I love the shape. The shape is really gorgeous. And my hedge of Hypericum headcoat is coming into flower at the moment. That's the yellow bush there at the back. Well, it's not the back, it's the side. This is the side of my house that runs, well, all the way down. And the Hypericum is planted on a bank, so it has grown up from the bank and kind of drooped down on my side, and that's why it looks so tall. I just love the sunny yellow disposition of this bush. I think it makes a great addition to many gardens. And when I was setting up the garden originally, I really wanted flowering hedges, and I settled on this one. I'm so glad I did. Just a little bit beyond it, we have my Sarracenia border, where I have two large planters full of Sarracenia, which are North American carnivorous plants grown in bog planters. And they're looking super at the moment, floating above the Stipa tenuissima, which is that grass down there. Opposite we have a border which is in some shade but still has, well, peonies that flower, just going over now, and salvia that flowers, and trollius. I'm just hoping that this trollius bulks up a bit because it will make a super complement to the peonies, which tend to be yellow over here. I say it's a semi-shaded border, but we do have things like salvias and alstroemeria that are flowering well enough in it, so it can't be that bad. I just need to make sure I keep pruned the big bushes behind. So now we're going to walk up this space, which seems very green and lush, but when you get to the top, wow, there are bangs of colour just going on. And here we have a load of colour. The pink and red, of course, are from my sweet williams, which are about 3 or 4 years in the ground. In fact, I ripped a number of them out this spring because I thought they couldn't possibly flower well again this year. But they have, so maybe I should have just left them be. Don't worry, I've invested in a lot more sweet william seed to sow this summer, and I will be going again with these fantastic plants. I find them so excellent for filling in gaps. Behind them we have a hydrangea hedge, and behind that we have the hypericum on the bank, which is that yellow flowered bush there behind that we just looked at. And behind my Easter Island heads we have a verbascum bombyciferus that just decided to sow itself here, and this is another plant that I will be sowing again this summer. I'm a big fan of the biennials, and I want to have more of these silver-leafed verbascums popping up in my garden like I used to before I introduced the green one and they all kind of cross-pollinated. And over here we have my alstroemeria, and this one is Oriana, the same one as you saw down in the long border, but I just love it in this position. And in fact it hadn't flowered so well for the last few years because of the pine tree, which was blocking light. Well, the pine tree is gone now, and this has just rewarded me with the fantastic blooms that you see in front of you now, and I hope that these will flower for a very, very long time if I keep them dead-headed as I should. They are interspersed with alliums from the onion family, obviously, and these have also benefited from the additional light afforded by the lack of a pine tree behind them. So I'm really pleased with how this looks. The border in front of the greenhouse is just beginning to pick up and get going, and you can see that the Insetta iris has gone over. This is the only one that actually regularly does for me, by the way. And we have Diascia personata and a alstroemeria, the Lig2 hybrid alstroemeria, which are predominantly the colours in this border at the moment, but there's lots of other stuff coming. Behind the glass house we have my daylily bed, and it is just coming into flower. Now these are orange and red daylilies. And daylilies, of course, need full sun to do well. I've had so many in my garden that have ceased to flower over the years because they became shaded out. So a few years ago I dug them all up and put them here in this bed that gets full sun, and they have rewarded me ever since with loads and loads of flowers. The orange one at the end always did flower well, but the red ones were very reluctant, and now they do well. Sometimes I think to myself that I'll get rid of the daylilies and plant up a peony bed instead, because who doesn't love peonies? I certainly do. They are my favourite herbaceous flower. But when you see the daylilies do as well as they're doing now, it's very hard to justify that. And just across from it we have a border which is overshadowed by a cherry tree full of Rosa, the rambling rector, now just going over from full flower. And you can see the evidence of that right here on the grass, which is absolutely full of the petals of the rambling rector. Behind and in the distance we have the wedding cake tree, flanked by a semicircular copper beech hedge. But we're not finished just yet. We still haven't seen the other side of the garden, the one that was looking lovely very recently with loads and masses of Dutch irises. Let's go and take a look. And just as we move over to the west garden, disaster. My neighbour starts up with the power tools, so I have to abandon filming. And now it's raining. Yes, absolutely piddly rain. But let me show you real quick over here my dracunculus. Now some of you may recall how I visited Rhodes in Greece just in April and saw this amazing plant growing wild in the forests. That was in April, but only now does it flower in my garden in June. But look at the poppies, and just a few days ago these were amazing. So as I think I mentioned already in this video, my compost is so full of poppy seed, which has lasted for many years. I never know where or when they're going to pop up, and needless to say this bed had a lot of compost put on it. But the pink poppies are amazing. I would have liked to show you around this section of the garden a little bit better, but the weather is against us. It's so funny because just yesterday, when we were all giving out about the weather, the garden looked absolutely amazing. And today, when I try and video, we have wind, we have overcast, and now we have rain. So I'm sorry you missed it, but this is the way the cookie crumbles. You never know what the weather is going to bring. Despite the dullness and the overcastness, I hope you've enjoyed having a look around my garden and seeing the flowers that are in bloom. I am certainly so pleased with how it looks this year and how it's turned out. And if you stay tuned, I will bring you a garden tour visit next month in July, when there'll be a different range of plants to look at. Thank you as always for watching. If you liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.